All right, let's jump right in. Welcome to this special explainer where we're breaking down a highly systematic, absolute no-nonsense roadmap to learning English. And get this, without spending a single dime. We're looking at a brilliant methodology pulled straight from our source material that targets the exact roadblocks keeping so many people from finally achieving fluency. If you've ever felt completely stuck or just overwhelmed by confusing grammar rules, or maybe self-conscious about speaking up, well, you are in the exact right place. We're going to deconstruct this step by step to build a clear, actionable path from absolute zero to complete confidence. Let's do this. So, the very first step actually demands a bit of a psychological commitment right off the bat. The question is, do you have 1 month? Just one. This single question challenges a massive, deeply ingrained myth. You know, the idea that becoming fluent requires years and years of grueling study and sitting in endless tuition classes. The creator of this roadmap argues that fluency, it isn't about time at all. It's about intensity and focus. If you can dedicate just 30 days to a highly specific, structured set of daily habits, you will completely transform your English. Seriously, you'll surprise yourself with what you can achieve. And here's exactly why that 30-day target is actually totally possible today. Those old excuses of needing 6 months or a full year, yeah, they're completely dead. I mean, think about it. We used to struggle because there was no internet, no easy-to-use apps, and definitely no free structured roadmaps like the one we're analyzing today. The whole landscape has completely shifted. With today's technology, every single thing you need is literally right at your fingertips. The barrier isn't access anymore. It's just having the right strategy to cut through all the noise. 30 days, executed with precision, is absolutely enough to build a rock-solid foundation of basic fluency. Okay, so the crucial point is how you actually start. This methodology flips the traditional schooling approach completely upside down. On one hand, we have the red flag approach. This is your classic textbook grammar, spending hours memorizing the exact definitions of nouns, pronouns, and their endless, boring subtypes. Our source material argues this approach basically just melts your brain. It creates unnecessary confusion and totally kills your motivation. You definitely shouldn't start there. Instead, you need to embrace the green flag approach. You want to start directly with tenses, voice, modals, prepositions, and forms of verbs. These aren't just abstract rules. These are the actual, actionable building blocks of the English language. Because look, here is the reality of the situation. Learning a tense lets you say, I play cricket. Immediately, right out of the gate. Learning noun types, that just fills up notebooks. This is such a powerful insight into how we actually learn languages. Just think about it practically for a second. If you learn what a modal is, like the word may, you can instantly walk into a room and confidently ask, may I come in? You get this instant practical application, which naturally leads to instant confidence. But if you just spend days memorizing what a collective noun is, you still can't build a basic sentence. You're just hoarding notes without ever opening your mouth to speak. All right, let's switch gears for a quick second. What is the English word for patal? Now, if you speak Hindi, your brain is probably scrambling right now. You're likely digging deep into your mental dictionary, trying to find some direct, fancy English equivalent for this pure, traditional word. And chances are you might be drawing a total blank, right? Maybe feeling a sudden spike of frustration or even doubting your own vocabulary. Well, the answer, patal simply means table. Crazy, right? You could just say maze in colloquial Hindi, but when you look for the pure, highly formalized Hindi equivalent, you completely freeze up. And this brilliantly illustrates the danger of what's called the translation trap. Our source points out that we're often taught to learn English by directly translating it back and forth from our native language in our heads. We try to find the exact English word for samosa or jalebi. It's a massive waste of time. It significantly slows down your speaking speed, it lowers your confidence, and it completely blocks your natural conversational flow. So how do we fix this and actually start flowing naturally? The first step is realizing that, well, not all learners are the same. For school or competitive exam students, their primary goal is passing really rigorous written exams, so their absolute focus has to be on absorbing heavy vocabulary and complex grammar rules. But if you're a professional or a job seeker prepping for an interview, or a housewife wanting to communicate confidently in daily life, your goal is totally different. Your focus has to shift entirely away from written exams and lock onto spoken English and pronunciation. You're playing a completely different game here. And because your goals are different, your learning materials need to be completely different too. It just makes sense. If you're a school student, pull your daily vocabulary straight from your science or history textbooks so you can write better exam answers. If you're studying for competitive exams like the UPSC, you absolutely need that dense, complex vocabulary found in daily newspapers. But if your main goal is everyday spoken fluency, do not read the newspaper. It will only overwhelm and discourage you. Instead, you should be pulling your practical vocabulary from movies, celebrity interviews, and real-life conversational podcasts where people use natural, everyday phrasing. Okay, time for a quick self-evaluation. Take a moment to be completely 100% honest with yourself. If I asked you to stand up right now in front of a room full of people and introduce yourself in English, explain exactly who you are, what problems you solve, and what you do for a living, how would you rate your delivery out of 10? And I'm not talking about your grammar here. I'm talking about your actual delivery. Were you smooth? Did you stumble? Did you sound authoritative and confident? Or kind of hesitant and unsure? If you gave yourself a lower score than you'd like, it likely comes down to one absolutely critical factor: pronunciation. Pronunciation matters immensely. The source highlights how incredibly common it is to hear people say English instead of English, or document instead of document, or just completely mispronounce words like class. For professionals, fixing this isn't just about sounding nice at a dinner party. It literally dictates your job selection. It dictates your salary bracket. When you speak to a major client or sit in a high-stakes interview, the way you physically deliver your message is the single most important aspect of your English learning. And this brings up a brilliant point that clears up a massive, widespread misunderstanding. People constantly think that having good pronunciation means you need to fake an American or British accent. Absolutely not, no way. The secret, as clearly laid out in the source material, is to embrace and keep your natural Indian accent. Whether you're from Bengal, Bihar, or Gujarat, keep your native tone, but perfectly refine the pronunciation of the words themselves. Fantastic examples of this are figures like Shashi Tharoor or Randeep Hooda. They sound distinctly and proudly Indian, yet their English pronunciation is so flawless, crisp, and confident that it commands total respect in any room. The trick is to rigorously imitate the clear pronunciation of great speakers, never fake their regional accent. Okay, so how do we actually implement all of this over the next 30 days? Enter the breakdown technique. The roadmap insists that the old, hesitant, fearful version of you, it has to go. You cannot build fluency on top of a shaky foundation of doubt. You have to totally break down your current mental blocks, your fear of judgment, and your old lazy study habits to make room for a new, highly fluent and confident version of yourself. And let's be super clear. This is going to require some serious, intense, and highly focused daily effort. This requires committing to a strict, systematic set of daily habits. These are your absolute non-negotiables. Step 1, you must actively learn and physically write down 10 new vocabulary words every single day from those targeted sources we talked about earlier. Step 2, read 5 pages daily. Even if you have to break it up into paragraphs throughout the day, and even if you don't fully understand every single complex word, you must complete those 5 pages just to build reading momentum. Step 3, for the very first 10 days, shut out everything else and focus solely on that green flag basic grammar we mentioned, your tenses, voice, and modals. And that brings us to the absolute hardest challenge of the entire program: 500. This is where the breakdown technique gets deeply physical. The source challenges you to handwrite 500 complete sentences, focusing purely on tenses and voice within those first 10 days alone. You cannot type them. You literally must handwrite them. The methodology argues that the physical, repetitive act of writing sentences until your hand actually aches and your fingers cramp, it builds a scientific, unbreakable muscle memory. It forces the structure of the language into your brain so deeply that you will practically never forget how to form those sentences. Right on the heels of that physical challenge is a major mental one: 30. Over the entire month, running right alongside everything else you're doing, you're challenged to write 30 full pages on different everyday topics. It could be about your best friend, how your day went, or maybe your 5-year goals. This directly builds your ability to structure extended, complex thoughts in English without panicking. Now, the source notes that this isn't an impossible intellectual task, but your own laziness and procrastination will fiercely try to stop you. If you can conquer your own mind and push through to complete these 30 pages, your speaking confidence will absolutely skyrocket before the month is even over. So, all of this intense, focused effort leads directly to one ultimate proving ground: the All India English Learning Test, or AIELT. It's a nationwide evaluation designed to actually test the precise skills you've just spent the last 30 days building. It gives you a stark, honest analysis of your new strengths and shows you exactly what you need to target next. The methodology has been laid out for you, the 30-day roadmap is incredibly clear, the required tools are completely free, and the old excuses holding you back are officially dead. So the only question left to answer is, when your 30 days are finally up, will you be ready?